Good morning, everyone. So in the last class, we're trying to discuss with the static methods as well as default method in an interface. And before discussing this particular Java 8 features, so we identified here like inheritance concept, exceptions can be extended or not. So using this particular extended keyboard, we'll try to connect with our interface 1 to interface 2 here. Getting the point. So whenever we are extending, we already identified. So we are going to get the inheritance functionality we are going to achieve here. Right. So these are about we discussed in the last class here. And today we are going to discuss one important concept called exception handling here. One important concept called exception handling here. So basically, so where exactly this particular exception handling will work here? Getting the point. So where exactly this particular exception handling is come into the picture? And so to understand this particular exception handling, so what are the keyword we need to follow here? So if you observe basically, so exception is a abnormal condition. So it's going to throw an, like it's going to arise the code sequence at runtime while executing our program. So we may get an exceptions here because we cannot understand it is normal condition. It is a abnormal condition. We doesn't know. So when we are going to get an exception here, getting the point. So basically exceptions are going to get at runtime. Runtime is nothing but so after completion of our program. So while executing our program, so we may get some exceptions here. So we may get some exceptions here. So those exceptions, if we get any exception, now what we can do? So we need to handle those exceptions here. Because as a developer, we can understand here why this particular exception you got. But as a user, we cannot understand here. So what exactly it is indicating here? Getting the point. So now what we need to do here, when we are getting an exception here, so we need to handle those exceptions and we need to provide the user friendly messages here. Getting the point. So we need to provide the user friendly messages here. So to understand here, first what we need to do here. Basically, now what we understand here. So exceptions are going to throw at abnormal conditions here. Getting the point. So it is not the normal condition. We doesn't know. So when we are going to get any exceptions here. So we must be checked and handle manually. Getting the point. So when the abnormal condition we are going to get any exception, we need to handle manually. Getting the point. So how we are going to handle manually? So we are going to understand here. So basically in Java exception handling here, so Java exception is a one object here. Getting the point. So Java exception is a one object here. So it's going to describe the exception information here. Getting the point. So basically, whenever the exception condition arise, so whenever the exception is going to throw, what happens internally? So the particular exception object is going to create and do. So we are going to understand the information about the so why this particular exception is throwing, and we are going to rethrow the exception. So by default, getting the point. If I'm not handling manually, so Java will provide the default exception handling mechanism here. What it will do, the default exception handling mechanism here. So it's going to create the exception object. So with some sufficient information. Getting the point. So why this particular exception is throwing? So those information is going to create while the exception is thrown and is going to throw to handle this particular exception here. Getting the point. So what we need to understand here. So basically, Java exception is a one object here. So it's going to describe the exception information here. It's going to describe the particular exception information here. Getting the point. Now we need to understand here. So how exactly we can handle this particular exceptions here. So as I explained here, basically these exceptions are generated by our run. Getting the point. So these particular exceptions can be generated by our Java runtime system, or so they can be manually generated by our code here. Getting the point? So sometimes what happens here, runtime system also it's going to throw an exception. So sometimes our code also it's going to throw an exception here. Getting the point? So we are going to work with this particular exception handling using these are the keyword here. So the first keyword called catch, sorry try, second keyword called catch, and third keyword called throw, and fourth keyword called throws, and these are the 5 keywords. Getting the point? So using these 5 keywords, we are going to work with our exception handling here. We are going to achieve, like we are going to work with exception handling here. That's simple. We need to understand here. So abnormal condition, the exceptions are going to throw. So while throwing this exception, internally our Java runtime system is going to create a object of the particular exception. So along with our information, why this particular exception is throwing, right? So sometimes, so our code also it's going to throw an exception. Getting the point? So basically, runtime system also it's going to generate an exception. Sometimes our code also it's going to throw an exception. So now if I'm going to throw an exception, if I'm going to get an exception here, so using these 5 keywords, so we are going to handle this particular exceptions here, right? Now we need to understand here, so what are the syntax we need to follow here using this particular 5 keywords. So using this particular 5 keywords, what are the syntaxes we need to follow here? The first one, so here we need to follow try. So whatever the code, getting the point. So whatever the code, we may get an exception. Getting the point. Whatever the code, we may get an exception. So those code we are going to write here. Block of code. Getting the point. So this particular block of code is going to throw error. So in future, not now, in future. So whenever it is throw an error, so those code we are going to define inside our try block. And what it will do, this particular catch block. Getting the point? If within the try block, if I'm going to get any exception, so this particular catch block will handle. This particular catch block will handle. And here I need to define exception object here. Exception object. Getting the point? So you can do whatever you want to do inside this particular exception block here. This is our exception handler. Getting the point? Now this particular final block is, so after getting an exception, or if I'm not getting any exception, so this particular final block will execute to close some of the resources here. Getting the point? So this block of code, this particular block of code to be executed, and after try block ends. Getting the point? After try block ends here. Getting the point? So is going to execute after try block or catch block. This particular finally block is going to execute. So whenever we are defining this particular final block is going to execute our, right? So we'll see using these three first, using these 3 keyword first, we are going to have simple example. Later we'll check with this particular 2 keywords, throw and throws here. Throw and throws here. So first what we need to understand here, so basically now we understand here when we are going to get an exception. So once we get an exception here, so Java runtime system, what exactly it is doing internally, we understand here. And now we need to understand here, so superclass information here. So whatever the classes we are going to define, so those are the comes under this particular class. So what is our superclass? So basically for all the, in Java, by default, object is our superclass. In Java, by default, object is a superclass. but I'm talking about the exception handling. For exception handling, we are having one more superclass. We are having one more superclass here. So what is a superclass here? Something called throwable. Throwable. Getting the point. So throwable is our superclass here, and this particular throwable having some branches here. So what is a branch here? First one, exception. Getting the point. And exception having sub branch here, and runtime exception. Getting the point. And same way, the throwable having one more branch here. So another branch called error. Getting the point. Now if you observe carefully, so throwable is our superclass here. Throwable is our superclass for all the exception handling classes, and this is one branch we are having. One is exception, and another one we are having. So that is called error here, and exception having sub branch here. Exception having sub branch. So what is the sub branch here? Runtime exception here. Now we need to understand very carefully this particular diagram here. So these sections we are going to discuss. So as of now, the error related information, we don't have a scope here. We cannot handle this particular error related exceptions here. Getting the point. So we cannot handle this error related exceptions here. Right. Now we are going to discuss this particular exception and runtime exceptions here. Getting the point. Now what you are understanding here? For the exception handling, we are having the superclass called the throwable. So this particular throwable again is extending from the our object class only. So that is different here. But now object is our superclass. From the object here, again we are having one more superclass that is called throwable. So throwable having this particular hierarchy here. Throwable having this particular hierarchy. Okay, so back to here. Now we understand here. So one branch we are headed with the exception, and the exception having sub branch which our runtime exception, and another branch we already identified error here. Right. So basically, this error branch is going to define the exception, so that are not expected to be caught under the normal circumstances. Getting the point. Now, what you are understanding here? So this particular error-related exceptions, we are not going to caught, like we are not going to handle here. So under the our normal programs here. Getting the point. So this is, so as I explained here, we are not going to handle error-related exceptions as of now. So the Java Sun Microsystem, as of now, they did not provide any information how we can handle error-related information here. Okay, so back to here, now what we understand here. So we need to focus only on the exception and runtime exception here. So to understand the how exactly the exceptions are going to throw. So we need to follow the simple example here. We need to follow simple example of this particular exceptions are going to throw. Let's say I'm going to work with so Java. I'm trying to work with X0 exception 0 class. I'm trying to work, and directly I'm trying to work with string. Right. And after this, what I'm doing here, I'm trying to work with one variable called int. It is having the data type called integer data type, and the name of the variable d. And another one, int a is equals to 42 by d. Getting the point. So let me save this particular exception class. So exception 0, I save this particular class here. Now, so if you understand, I'm moving into the particular directory here. So Java C exception.java. Java C exception.java. So it's compiled successfully. it's compiled successfully. Now what we need to understand here, we need to execute this particular exception 0. Now if you observe here, what happening internally? So exception in thread. So what is the name of the thread here? Main. So this particular thread information we can discuss after completion of our exception handling. Okay. So as of now, the name of the thread you can ignore here. Name of the thread you can ignore here. But now, so what is the exception class we are getting here? What is the exception class we are getting? So something called java.lang arithmetic exception. So java.lang arithmetic exception and /0. Now what you understand here? So we are getting an exception here. Getting the point. So while performing the particular division operation, we are getting an exception here. So where we are getting here? This is our class name and this is our method name and line number 4. Getting the point. So basically this is the name of the class and this is the method and this is the line number here. Getting the point. If I'm going to see line number 4, getting the point, here we are getting an error here. So class name, method name and line number. Now what we are doing here, we are trying to dividing with 0 here. We are trying to divide with 0. So while dividing here, we are getting an exception here. So while dividing, we are getting an exception here. Cutting the point. So this is very important. We need to understand here. Right. Now, so what is the message providing here? So name of the exception and so what is exactly the message here? Basically, so /0. What we are doing here, we are trying to divide with 0. We are getting an exception here. /0 is nothing but while performing division operation with 0, we are getting an error here. Right. Now, so once if you observe carefully, so this particular exception is handled by our default exception handler here. So we are not defining any our try catch here. If I'm not defining here, what happens internally? We are having default exception handler. So the default exception handler is going to handle this particular information here, right? But here, if you observe our Java runtime system here, it is trying to attempt with the division by 0. Getting the point. Now what we are doing here, the line number 4, we are trying to attempt with some value with 0 here. So whenever we are trying to do this kind of operations here, now what happens internally? So when we are going to get an exception, so the Java runtime system is created one object. So the exception object is created with the information here. So what is the information is given here? So this is the name of the exception, something called, we are creating an object of this particular arithmetic exception with this information. Cutting the point. So Java runtime system is created object, right? And with some information here. And here, if you observe, once our exception is thrown, now what we need to do here? So we need to catch this particular exception handler here. And here, so as of now, we did not catch the particular exception using our exception handling here. Now what happens internally? If I'm not handling here, so as I explained here, the default exception handler is going to display the default exception handler is handled and displaying with the string information here. Getting the point with the string information. Now the same exception, if I'm going to handle here with our try catch block, what happens internally? We need to understand here. Getting the point. So basically, now what I'm trying to do here, so what I'm trying to provide here, arithmetic exception is a subclass of our exception class here. Getting the point. So first, what we are understanding here, while running this particular example, So we got an exception. We got an exception. The Java runtime system is created one exception with some string information here. And here, the default handler is handle this particular exception is going to provide this much information here. Right. So this much information is provided by the default exception handler. Now what we can do, if I'm going to work with the same example with some other style here. If you observe, so this is, we are going to call it as a stack trace. This is, we are going to call it as a stack trace. Like how exactly the exception is throwing here. So from the which line number, from the where line number it is called, everything is going to provide here. Now if you observe carefully here, now what I'm trying to do, so this particular information I'm trying to move into the method here. Static void. So name of the method called multiplication. So I'm work with, so not multiplication, division. Getting the point. So I'm trying to work with a division method here. So here I'm trying to call. If you observe carefully, I created one method, the name of the method called div. So internally, what we are doing here, again, we are trying to perform the same operation here. But the method I am calling from the main method. So if you observe carefully, so I'm trying to compile one more time, and I'm executing here. So see the difference between, so this particular error, the exception stack trace we are going to call, and this particular exception stack trace here. Right. Now you can see from the line number 7 it is calling, and we are getting an exception line number 4. But where we are getting an exception, now you can observe this is the name of the class and this is the method name. And now you can see from the which line number it is calling here, from the this particular class main method line number 7. From the line number 7 we are calling the line number 4. From the line number 4 we are getting this particular exception information. So basically now, as of now, we are not handling any exception here. So this particular handler mechanism handled by our Java runtime system default exception handler here. The default exception handler. Carrying the point. So this we need to understand very carefully. Now what you are understanding here? So stack trace. Stack trace is going to give more information regarding our exception information. Now you can see, so main method line number 7 it is calling, and line number 4 we are getting an exception here. So basically while seeing this example we are having, so we can easily understand here from which line number to which line number is executing. But in the real time scenarios we are going to have some multiple lines of code. So we cannot understand here from where exactly we are getting an exception. So using this particular stack trace, we can easily understand. So from the which class and which method, which line number, we are getting an exception here. Okay. Now, so instead of using the default handler here, now I want to work with our try catch here. So basically, using this particular try catch block, how we can handle this particular the same program here. Basically, so when we are trying to work with our try catch block, we are going to get two benefits here. We are going to get two benefits. First, it's going to fix this particular error, and the second one, it's going to prevent the program automatically terminating here. So it's going to prevent the termination here. If I'm not handling, if I'm going to work with the default exception handling here, basically now what happens internally, this particular program is going to terminate here. When we are getting an exception, this particular program is going to terminate here. But now with our try catch block here, we can prevent this particular automatic termination. Now if you observe carefully, the same exception I'm trying to work with try catch block. So exception 2, asks, getting the point. Now here, now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to define in two variables here. These are the two variables here. D is equals to 0 and A is equals to 42 by D. Getting the point. Now what I'm doing here, I'm trying to initialize with the D value 0 and A is equals to 42 by D. So if you observe carefully, I'm trying to work with the try block as well as catch block. Now I'm trying to work with the catch block. And inside this particular catch block, so what we can do, because we already identified here when we are trying to work with so division by 0, we are getting an exception called arithmetic exception. Getting the point. So arithmetic exception. So this particular arithmetic exception I'm trying to handle. Right. And here system dot out dot println here. So division by 0. And I'm closing this particular catch block. And after closing this particular catch block here, so we can define one more exception here. Sorry, one more println statement here. And here also I want to define inside this particular try block. Try block println. So println statement. Right. So we need to see if this particular println statement is printing or not. And here what is the message we can define after catch block. And I'm closing the main method and I'm closing class level brace. I'm saving with exception 2.
Why are you using EX on line
Sorry?
number 8? Line number 8, why are we declaring EX?
So basically, as we discuss here, this particular object is going to created by our Java exception handler. So we need to get the information if we want to perform any additional operation. So this is the object reference, EX. So these EXs will have the information like the stack trace and everything we'll have inside this particular EX only. So I will provide what are the information we are going to have inside this particular EX. So basically, arithmetic exception is a one class here. If you understand here, this is the one class. Now you can see public class. Getting the point. If I want to work with this particular arithmetic exception, we need to create an object here. So the object is created by the Java runtime system here, and the object we can access using this particular reference. Just this is I'm providing as a type here.
Okay.
Okay. So back to here, this is the class we declare here, exception 2. Now, what I'm trying to do, let me clear the console and Java C exception 2.java, and it is compiled successfully. Now I'm trying to executing this particular example. If you observe here, now what is the message we are getting? Division by 0. Now what we are doing here? So using the try and catch block here, so we are preventing the default exception handling, and whatever the message we identified previously, we are not seeing this particular message. Now what we are doing here? So we are defining user friendly message here. So whatever the message you want to define, you can write it like this here. Getting the point. You can define like this here. So the default message is not available as of now. And if we observe, After handling this particular catch block, here, still we are able to executing, the other statements here. Now what you are understanding here? First, we are trying to handle the particular exception information, and the second one, we are trying to preventing automatically terminating here. So it is not terminated. If it is terminated here, this line cannot be executed here. Getting the point? So whenever we are executing this particular block of code here, so when we are getting an exception here, so once we are getting an exception, it's not going to execute the other statements. So wherever we are getting an exception, the after the statement is not going to execute here. But that is a default exception handler. But using try catch block here, now what we are doing here? So we are overriding the default exception handler and using with try and catch block here. So inside the try block, we are providing, so whatever the exception we may get in future, those code information we are defining. And if I'm going to get any exception, the exception is going to handle by the appropriate exception class here. The appropriate exception class. So once it is handled, we can easily execute the other statements here. We can execute the other statements as well here. Getting the point. Now, so this is all about the try and catch block here. So we'll observe the same example with the help of this particular our IDE, so that we'll have a more information here. So exception 2. The same example I want to handle from the IDE, so that we can work with debug mode. And inside this particular same package only, I'm trying to providing. Let me add into this particular class the particular package. Okay. Now I'm saving here. Now what I will do, I'm putting a breakpoint here, the line number 7. Okay. Observe here. I'm trying to run with particular example as a debug as a Java application. So to check with what happening internally. Now you can observe the cursor is stopped at line number 7. And you can see here we are getting an error here because the D value we are having 0. And now you can observe where it is moving here. So from the line number 8, we got an exception here. Getting the point? From the line number 8, we got an exception here. Now, without executing this particular line number 9, getting the point? This is very important here. So wherever we are getting an exception, whatever the statement we are having below, so those statements not going to execute here. So directly it will move to the appropriate catch block. Here. Now you can understand here. So this is our try block we are handling here. So we got an exception line number 8. So directly it moving into the catch block. Now you can observe. So it is handling this particular exception catch block here. Now you can see. So what is the information we are having here? So this information is by default this information we are going to have because this object is created by our runtime system here. So details message, this is a message and the cause of this particular exception class. So this is the information we are getting here. Backtrace. And inside this particular backtrace here, what is the information we are having here? Something exception block. These are the IDs information we are getting here. Only, so we can work with this particular details message here. This particular details message we are getting from the Java runtime system here. Now, I'm not working with the default message what we are getting. So directly, so to understand here, I'm working with user-friendly message here, sir. Okay. So after this, now you can observe is trying to execute the below statements here. So if it is trying to execute the below statement, now what you understand here, we are preventing the particular automatically termination here. So if we observe here, we'll work with the same exception 0. So we need to understand the between this particular previous class and the current class here. So I want to move this particular class into the packages section. And now, let's say here I want to make a breakpoint. So the particular method level I put a breakpoint here. Now you can observe the method is called here. The particular method is called here. Now I'm moving inside this particular method. So that we already identified. We want to click on this particular F5 so that we can move into the method here. Now you can observe, now we are into the div method. Now you can see I'm trying to click F6. Why I'm clicking the F6 here? So to move one by one line. So from the line number 5 we are having the cursor. I want to move to the line number 6. We need to click on the F6 here. So now you can see I'm clicking on the F6. Now we are into the line number 6 here. So if you observe carefully, here you need to understand carefully here. So the line number, here we need to check carefully here. So this particular information is going to provide whether the automatically is terminating or still it is available or not. Automatically it is terminating or it is available or not. We need to see after executing this particular line number 6. Now you can see I'm coming out of the line number 6 here. Now you can observe. Now you can observe here. So the particular cursor, the terminal is terminated here. So the current example is terminated here. We cannot move after this particular line number 6. Getting the point? We cannot move after this particular line number 6 here. So this is we already identified here. This is the default message, and with a stack trace we are getting. Right, with the default message and stack trace we are getting here. So that we need to focus carefully here. So without using the try catch block and with using try catch block, so what are the benefits we are going to get? We need to understand here. Getting the point? Okay. Now if you observe carefully, I'm going to work with one more example here. I'm going to work with one more example. Let me work with our Notepad++ here. And here, so what is the class name I want to provide? Handle error. And here, so I'm trying to work with the main method. So inside this particular main method, I'm going to open the try block. Right. So before opening this particular try block here, now what we can do? We can define the variable section here. So int a is equals to 0 and b is equals to 0, c is equals to also 0. Right. And after this, we are going to work with a random class here. So random r is equals to random I created. And after this, now what I'm doing here, b value getting the point, r dot next int, r dot next int, and c value also r dot next int, getting the point. So b value and c value we are getting here, and for this particular a, now what I am doing here, so a is equals to 1 2 3 4 5, so division operator I'm using, and inside this particular division operator, now what we can do, so again I'm trying to work with so b by c. So if you observe carefully, b by c, so we are going to get some value, because every time the random, the next into method is going to provide some value. So based on that, now what we are doing is, first we are doing the division operation for the b by c, and later whatever the value we are going to get, based on that value we are going to work with the division operator with some value called 1 2 3 4 5. Getting the point? Here we are performing two operations here. So I'm closing this particular try block, and here now what we can do, I need to handle with a catch block here, arithmetic exception. Getting the point? So inside this particular arithmetic exception, so just I want to work with the same message what we used previously. So in the real-time example, we are not going to work with the system, this particular println method. So what happens here? So if we want to get any exception here, now what we will do? We'll try to roll back all the operations, and if I'm going to get any exception, we are going to show different status codes here. Getting the point? So sometimes what happens internally? So once the current operation is successful or not, how we are going to check? So based on the status codes only. Getting the point? Now you can observe, so here we are going to save the data into the details log table. Getting the point? Because based on the details log table only, in the real-time applications we are going to get the more information. Getting the point? So here we are going to save the details log with a success code. But in the catch block also, we are going to save the details log with error code. Along with error code, now what happens internally? We are going to save the exception information as well. So to track like where exactly we are getting an exception, now what we are doing here, we are going to provide the one column as this particular exception log here. Getting the point? So those exception information we are going to write inside this particular catch block. If you observe in the real-time example, more than one line of code we are going to define inside this particular catch block. This is very important here. Okay, but in our current example, we don't have much code to write inside the catch block. So just for understanding, I'm trying to define here how this particular catch block will work here. Right. So division by. Now this is, we need to understand carefully here how the catch blocks are going to work. And after this, inside this particular catch block, now I'm making 0 here. The a value, again I'm setting to 0. After this, now what we can do, I want to print the particular a value here. Right. So this is all about the a value here. And I'm closing the main method. I'm closing this particular handler class. And here, so we need to add import. So java dot util package. What is the name of the class we identified? Random. Getting the point? So we need to import. So why we need to import the class? Because we are into the different package here. We are not working with the java dot util package here. Getting the point? So this is also important here. In the which scenario where we need to import this particular section of code. Okay. So back to here. Java C. What is the name of the class we are having? Handle error class. So it's compiled successfully. and we need to execute this particular handle error class. Now if you observe division by 0, so like division by 0 we are getting, and a value will become 0. Getting the point? So a value will become 0 here. So why we are getting 0 here? Because the catch block is handled here. Getting the point? The catch block is handled here. We got an exception. So because of this particular exception, catch block is handled and we are working with a value 0. Okay. Now what we can do, so to understand more here, so what are the values we are getting here? We can print like this. We can print like this here. So B value, as well as here we can work with C value. Right, we can work with C value, so that we can understand here. So what are our next int method is returning the value. So what is the value? This particular next int method is returning here. Let me compile one more time and execute one more time. So what is the A value, B value? Now if you observe carefully, right now, so we got this much integer value, so we are getting an A value. If you observe, we did not get any exception here. So if I'm going to get an exception, this is a message we are going to get. This is a message we are going to get. But as of now, we did not get any exception. So happily, so it's working with this particular try block is executed. So catch block will not execute. So when this particular catch block will execute here, so whenever we are going to get any exception in the try block, so the catch block is going to execute here. This particular catch block is going to execute. At this time, for the second runtime, this catch block is not executed, so directly we got an A value. Now if you observe, again I'm trying to execute one more time. Now you can see, so at this time we got an A. So at this time we got an A, division by 0, A value 0. So why A value we are getting 0? Because if I'm trying to perform the B by C, like division operation on this particular B value, so we got an A. Some exception here. Some exception here. So now you can observe one more time I'm trying to run. So at this time also we are getting an exception. So at this time you can observe we did not get any error. Getting the point? So now you can see we are not getting any error. But here we got an error. Here also we got an error. Getting the point? So basically randomly, based on the random value, so sometimes we are getting an exception, sometimes we are not getting any exception. But here if we get any exception, so happily, so we are handling the exception and we are trying to work with other operations here. We are trying to work with other operations here. Now if you observe here, now what I'm trying to work here, I'm trying to work with static void. Here I'm having the method here, static void print AB. So this is the method I want trying to work with static method. If you observe here what I'm trying to do, I will print this particular message information, or so we will work with addition operator. B and C values here. Getting the point? So here we don't want to print this. So just for what I'm trying to do here I'm trying to work with instead of printing a value after this. Now what I'm trying to with print AB method I'm calling. So print AB method I'm calling with BC by specifying B and C parameters here. So here into B comma into C, into B comma into C. So now we need to understand carefully here how after executing after handling this particular catch block, still we are able to call the additional operations here. So this is one of the example for the additional operations here. We are calling one more TAB method. We are going to get an A and like A and B value for the addition here. Let's see. So clear the console, compile one more time, and execute here. Now you can observe, even though if you get an exception, still we are able to perform the additional operation here, B and C values. The B and C values, how it is calling here? Because we came out of this particular try and catch block here. So now what you understand here, the current cursor is not a terminator here. Still we have a option to execute the additional operations here. So this is very important here, try and catch block. So now what you understand here? So what are the advantages we are going to get when we are trying to work with a catch block here? Right. Now, so any questions regarding this particular try and catch block here?
Yes, in the output, can you go to the output console?
Okay.
Yes, if you see B and C values are longer, but when you're adding B plus C, why is it returning negative value?
So
Because your code is B plus C for that method.
okay.
Above. Yeah.
Okay. So if it is a B plus C, we are not changing any value, right?
Yes.
So we need to think here, like what is the value we are getting for addition. Let's see. We'll add. So 1576223941 plus 183537608. So if you see, this is the out of the range. This is out of the range of our particular integer data type. So because of this, so whatever the number which is suitable in the range, so the value is returning here. So range also important here.
Okay.
Okay. So back to here. Now what we need to understand here, we need to discuss with here we are working with one catch block here. So sometimes what happens here, so we may get different exceptions here, not this particular arithmetic exception. We may get some different exception. So in this case, now what we can do? Getting the point. So if you observe carefully, we'll try to check with multiple catches example here. Now, so what kind of exception we are going to get differently here? And here, when we are going to work with multiple catches here, we need to work with like this. Here, I am trying to work with one class. So multiple catches here. This is the name of the class I'm trying to work with multiple catches. And public static void main. Okay, now if you observe, again, I'm trying to work with the same code here. So if you observe, int a is equals to args.length. Args.length. Right. And into b is equals to, now what I'm doing here? So 42 by a. into B is equals to 42 by A. And into C, I'm defining as a array type here. And here I'm trying to initialize one value. So C 42 is equals to 99. So this is the try block I'm trying to work. Getting the point? So this is our try block I'm trying to work here. So here I want to work with the catch block. This particular catch block we already identified. So this particular arithmetic exception, because we are trying to work with some division by operation, so that we may get an arithmetic exception. Now we are handling this particular exception. System dot out dot so the operation divide by 0 something here. I want to get an EX here. I'm trying to print the particular EX object information. Okay, and here one more catch block I'm defining. Okay, so without defining this particular catch block, first we need to understand here, other than this particular arithmetic exception, so which method, like which exception we are going to get, we need to understand here. Let's see system.out.println after catch block. After try and catch block here. Let me close main method as well as this particular class level brace. So multiple catches. Let's say
We did not define size of array.
Sorry?
We did not define the size of array C, right?
I think you forget this particular operator. So using this also, we can create an array here.
Okay.
Okay. So back to here. Multiple catches.java, it's compiled successfully. And multiple catches. Now you can see, so this is our arithmetic exception. After try catch block. Getting the point. So this is already identified. So if you observe carefully, now what I'm doing here I'm trying to work with the 1. Now you can see we are getting different exception here. So observe carefully, here we are getting arithmetic exception. Getting the point. Here we are getting array index out of bound exceptions. Here we are getting array index out of bound exception. If you observe, this particular message is coming from the default exception handler, because we are not working with the catch block for this particular exception. We are working with the try catch, but we are not handling this particular exception. Now if you observe, this error will give you more information. Now you can see index 42 out of bounds for the length 1. So now what you are understanding by reading this particular message?
That array length is 1, but in the next line when we are accessing the element which is at index 42, that is showing error.
Yes. So where it is showing here? If you observe, we are creating one C array, like int type we are creating here. Now if you observe, the length we are having only 1. Why the length we are having 1? Because the element we are having only 1 here. Getting the point? The element, like the value we are having only 1. So if you observe, see here, now this is it's pointing to the index here. This is pointing to the 42. But if you observe this, we already identified here, this particular brace every time is going to point to the index here. Now, which index we are pointing here? 42. In the 42, we are trying to insert 99 value. Getting the point? We are working with only one equal statement. So that we already identified 99 value we are initializing into the 42 location in this particular array called C. Getting the point? But here we don't have the particular indexes here. Only we are having the indexes 1. So the index is 0, the length is become 1. Because the length is going to start from the 1, the size is going to start from the 1, the indexes are going to start from the 0. Getting the point? So indexes we are having only 1, but we are trying to initialize with the 42. Now, so we are getting the different exception. So when we are getting this particular different exception, now what we can do? Now what we can do here, basically, here we need to handle this particular exception. Getting the point? We need to handle this particular exception. So how I'm trying to handle here with help of, so this is another EX. Here, this is another EX, and what is the method we are going to get? Index 42. Index 42 we are trying to work. And the same example I want to compile one more time. Let me compile one more time and execute here. So we are getting arithmetic exception. And if I'm going to run with 1, we are getting an array index out of bound exception here. Now we can see, so this message we added here. This message we added here. Now what you understand here? From this particular catch block, array index out of bound catch block here, we are handling an exception and we are trying to print this particular message. So if you see carefully here, so here we are printing after try and catch block, but here we don't have a try and catch block. Getting the point? After executing, like after printing this particular array index out of bound exception, here we are not having any the println statement here. Now you can see the same error we are printing here. The same error we are printing, and we are having after right catch block. Now what you are understanding here? So using this particular catch block, we have a scope to work with additional operations here. But here, if I'm not handling here, we don't have a scope to work with additional operations here. So this is very important. We need to understand here the catch block here. But here we are working with the multiple catch blocks here. Here we are trying to work with multiple catch blocks here. So this is very important here. When we are trying to work with multiple catch blocks here, we need to follow some order here. We need to follow some order here. So the order, if we observe, we are having arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, and here I'm trying to work with one more exception. This is our exception class. Here I want to work with exception. Here I want to work with the exception. If we observe, here we are working with the exception. Right. Now see the same example I'm trying to run here. Compile one more time. Okay. Yes. This is the expected message we are showing here. Now you can see, if we read this, we can easily understand here. So arithmetic exception. Getting the point. This particular arithmetic exception is has already been caught. Getting the point. So previously we did not get this particular error here, but now we are getting an error here. Now what you are understanding here? This particular error message, what is the information is providing here?
That with the exception first catch, it is taking care of all different exceptions, like arithmetic and carry out of.
If we observe here the hierarchy, this is the superclass and this is our subclass, and the subclass again it's having internally this section. So this section ignore right now, but work with this. Exception is a superclass for what are the exception we are discussing. So something called arithmetic exception and array index out of bound exception. Cutting the bun. Array index out of bounds and arithmetic exceptions are the subclass of this particular exception class. So whenever we are defining this particular superclass, so it's giving an option to, so don't declare subclasses information here. These are the two subclasses sections. These are the two subclasses sections here. Getting the point. Right. Now what we need to understand here, when we are trying to work with these particular sections here, we cannot work with our subclasses. Let's see, we'll try to show arithmetic exception. Now you can observe arithmetic exception is extending from the our runtime exception. Getting the point. Already we identified here exceptions keyword. So now arithmetic exception is a superclass of, for the arithmetic exception who is the superclass? Runtime exception. If I'm going to open this particular runtime exception, now you can see, so runtime exception is extending from the our exception class. Getting the point. Now what you are understanding here? So directly or indirectly, this particular arithmetic exception class is extending from the our which class? Exception class. Getting the point. Now, so whenever we are trying to define this particular superclass section, we don't want to define the subclasses information. But here, if we observe, I'm working with like this. I'm trying to work like this. Now you can see, let me clear the console, compile one more time. Any error we are getting here? We are not getting any error. Now what you are understanding here? So first we need to follow the subclass exception, and second we need to follow the superclass exception. Getting the point. First we need to follow the subclass exception, and second we need to follow the superclass. Why we need to follow the superclass last? But sometimes what happens here, if I'm not handling, like we are getting the different exception other than these two exceptions here. Getting the point. Now what happens internally? So this exception is going to handle here. This exception is going to handle. So this is the way we need to follow the hierarchy when we are trying to work with multiple exceptions here. So any questions regarding this particular multiple catches here? Okay. Now, so we need to discuss with our nested try statements here. Getting the point. So how we can work with this particular nested try statement here? Because we already identified here the nested information from the static onwards, we are trying to work with different nested information. Same way, within the try block, how we can define the another try block here. So let's see. So nested try. And here we are trying to work with the string args here. Now what you need to understand here, inside this particular main method, I'm going to work with the one try block here, into a is equals to args dot length. Getting the point. So where it is this particular arguments is coming from the parameter, method parameter here. Okay. Now, so once we define this particular int a variable, now what we are doing here, int b is equals to the same code I am trying to define here, 42 by a. Okay. Now here I want to print one message. Here I want to print some message here. So what is a message I want to print? So it's nothing but a value. And after this, I'm trying to work with one more try. I'm trying to work with one more try block here. So here, if a is equals to 1, getting the point. If a is equals to 1, now what is the operation I'm trying to work here? A is equals to a by a minus a by a minus a. So observe carefully how I'm trying to work with the division operator here. Right. And if I'm going to have a equals to 0, if I'm going to have a equals to 0, the same array we are discussing here. The same array we are discussing here, and so we can work with the 5. Something we can work with the 99 value and close. Cutting the point. Now we need to understand very carefully here what we are doing here. We are trying to load the length of this particular arguments, and we are trying to work with division operators, right? And if we are not getting any exception, now what happens internally? We'll move on to this particular section. We'll move on to this particular section. If a value will become 1 is nothing but the length we are passing 1. Now what happens internally? So we are trying to work with a division operator, and if I'm going to get a value 2, we are checking with the array index out of bound exception. Right. Now, so we work with if conditions. Now I'm closing the catch block. Here we need to work with try block we close. Now we are trying to work with the catch block. Now what we need to understand here now what I'm trying to work with here, array index out of bound exception here. Array index out of bound exception I'm trying to handle here. So why I'm trying to handle here this particular exception? So if you observe this section of code is going to throw array index out of bound exception. This section of code is going to throw arithmetic exception. So here also this section of code is going to throw an arithmetic exception. So this particular arithmetic exception I'm going to handle outside of this particular try block is nothing but nested try block. I'm not handling the arithmetic exception here. So let's see system.out.println here. Here now what is the message I want to print? So simple array index out of bounds. Here I want to work with EX. Right? Catch block I'm handling. And now you can see I'm closing one more try block. Now you can see this is internally we defined inside this particular try block. So this particular very important section we need to understand. So because this is the outer try block, this is inner try block. This inner try block having this section of code, and we define one catch block. We define one catch block for this particular inner try block. But now I'm closing outer try block. We need to work with one more catch block here. Getting the point? So here I'm trying to work with arithmetic exception. So why I'm trying to work with arithmetic exception here? Because in the two location we are trying to work with arithmetic exception here. Let's say system dot out dot println. Here we need to work with arithmetic exception, something called divide by 0 ex here, divide by 0 ex here. Now the catch block I'm closing and the main method I'm closing and class level brace I'm closing here. So this we need to understand here. So how many braces we open? We need to close all the braces here. Okay. So okay. So back to here. Now what I want to do, let me copy this particular class. I want to work with Java C nested try.java. So it's compiled successfully. Nested try. So if I'm not providing any parameters, so can you please let me know? So which exception we are going to get? If I'm like here in this case, if I'm going to enter the kernel, if I'm going to enter, so arithmetic exception we are going to get. Like here, this exception is caught because of outer try block or inner try block.
Outer.
Okay, outer try block. So why we are getting this particular outer exception here? Now we need to understand here. This particular A we are going to get as a 0 because we did not pass any arguments here. We did not pass any arguments here. If I'm not going to pass any arguments here, now what happens internally? So the value will become 0. The value will become 0. Getting the point? Now if the value will become 0, this exception we are going to get. Right. Now what you need to understand here, I want to specify the parameter, something called 1. Now if I'm going to enter, so which exception we are going to get?
Inner outer bound array.
Now you can see I'm going to show you the code. So can you please look into this particular section of code? So what we written here and let me know. So which exception we are going to get here?
Yeah, both.
So both we cannot get it here.
But
Okay.
it needs both because even that divide by 0 is there and outer box.
So you're not seeing this condition here. If this condition match only, we'll enter into the block of code. So see, because we are passing, the length we are going to get as a 1. When we are getting this particular length as a 1, this section of code is going to satisfy. Now what we are doing here? We are doing some subtraction here. Again we are going to get 0. Again here we are getting a arithmetic exception here. But if you observe, in the nested try, we don't have a catch block for this particular arithmetic exception. Getting the point? We don't have a nested catch block for this particular arithmetic exception. So which catch block is going to handle? Now you can see I'm trying to enter this particular section of code. The value we are getting 1. again we are getting arithmetic exception. So if a value we are getting 1, so which code is going to satisfy? As I explained, this particular code is going to satisfy. Because the a value equals to 2, then only we are moving into this particular code. Right? But if you observe, here we are not having the particular appropriate catch block here. But even though, now what happening internally? Compiler is checking if this particular nested block, we don't have a appropriate catch block, it's moving into the outer catch block. So it's going to check outer, even if not found in the outer. Now what happens internally? The default exception handler come into the picture. The default exception handler is going to handle and is going to terminate it here. Getting the point. So this is very important, we need to understand. First, it will give the priority to nested catch blocks. In the nested catch block, if I'm not finding the appropriate catch block, it's going to check with the outer blocks. In the outer blocks also, it will not found. What happens internally? The default handler will come into the picture, and the default handlers are going to handle this kind of exceptions here. Getting the point. Now, but in the outer, we handle this particular arithmetic exception. So because of this, now what we are doing here? So this particular message printing here. Getting the point. This is very important, we need to understand here. So now, second time, I'm trying to work with one more parameter. So at this time, what is the length of this particular arguments? What is the length of this
2.
particular arguments here? 2.
2.
So we are going to get 2. Now you can see 2. So we are getting the a value 2 here. So it's nothing but the length we are having 2, and this particular exception is handling. This particular exception is already handled inside the particular nested catch block. So nested catch block we handle. So now you can see this is our index it's showing here. Now you can see, so index we are having 5. It is out of this particular length 1. It is out of for length 1. Getting the point. Now if you observe carefully, here now what I'm doing, five, 6. Let's see any error we are going to get or not. I want to compile one more time. I'm trying to compile one more time. It's compiled successfully, and I'm trying to work with this particular example. Any value any exception we are getting here? We are not getting any exception. So why we are not getting any exception here? So previously we got an exception, but now we are not getting any exception here. So carefully observe here what we are doing here. The line number 11, we are creating a int array. So what is the size here? 6 here. The size we are having 6. Getting the point. The index also will have 5 here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Getting the point. The index we are having 5. So when this particular index is having 5, now what we are doing here? We are trying to overriding the value. Getting the point. So we are trying to override the value. So existing value we are having 6. Now we are trying to override with 99. Getting the point. We are trying to override with 99. So if you observe now, system.out println, here I want to work with C file. I am trying to work with so before initializing and after initializing. Let's see, we'll try to compile one more time. We are trying to compile, compilation is successful, and I am executing here. Now you can observe, so previously like existing value 6, the current value is overridden with 99. Getting the point? This is very important here. Basically, this exception will provide the information when we are trying to work with the index. It's not in the range of the size. The index is not in the range of the size. Now, if you observe, the size we are having 6 here, so the index we are having 5. If I'm going to work with the 6 here, if I'm going to work with the 6, carefully observe now. So at this time, we are going to get exception or not?
Yes.
Now what? The C6 is equals to 99. Now what I'm doing here, in the 6th index location, I'm trying to initialize the value called 99. Now you can observe, again, we'll try to compile the code and execute here. So observe here, the index we are having 6. Now here you can check here, index 6 is a out of bound range here. The length we are having 6, the index we are having 6. So now you can see length we are having 6. What happens here to insert this particular value? Correct the length we are having 6, nothing but we are having the size here. Now what happens to insert this particular 6th index location value?
0 to 5. That's
Yes, the indexes are going to start from the 0. The size and length both are same. Both are going to start from the 1. Getting the point? So this we need to understand very carefully here. Right, now we understand the arithmetic exception as well as the array index out of bound exception here. So I will try to provide the different exceptions here. What are the different exceptions? Basically, these are the inbuilt exceptions. These are the inbuilt exception. This exception class we did not provide it here. Now if you observe here, so this class is already available from the since 1.0. So Java 1.0 onward, this particular class is available. So who is author here? Okay, here the name of the author is not available, but now we can think the Sun Microsystem people, they implemented this particular class. Getting the point. Now we can see, we'll try to check with what about this particular class. So array index out of bound exception. Let me open this particular class. Array index out of bound exception. And now you can check here. So this particular class is extending from the index out of bound exception here, and internally the index out of bound is extending from the runtime exception. So basically what I want to provide, whatever the OOPS principle we discuss here, getting the point, inheritance, polymorphism, exception handling, sorry, the abstraction, getting the point. So these are the very important concepts. Wherever you go, like entire core Java, if you open any class, if you're familiar with the OOPS principle here, you can easily understand. So what is written inside this particular classes here. Now you can see, so this is we already identified default constructor, parameterized constructor, and here is this also one more constructor which is extending, well, like which is expecting the parameter as a int index here. So same way, now you can understand here. So these are the constructors only. These are the constructors only. Now we need to understand the runtime here. In the runtime also we are having constructors only. But constructors we are having overloaded constructors. We are having overloaded constructors here. Now you can see every time we are calling internally super. Super we are calling. Super keyword also we already discussed here. So if I'm going to call super, where it will go? It will go to this particular exception class. Now you can see the exception is already extending from the table. So this is the hierarchy is matching or not? Getting the point. This is the hierarchy is matching or not? So runtime is extending from the exception. This exception is extending from the throwable. Getting the point. Now you can see, so this is our exception class. Here also we can see again we are trying to work with the super keyword. Now you can see all the overloaded constructors with different parameters here. Getting the point with different parameters. But here now you can see each constructor is added based on the some different versions here. Each constructor is added based on the some different version. Now, so we'll try to check with throwable class. So basically, throwable is not extending from any class. By default, what we can think here, all the classes are going to extend from the object class. Right. Now, here we need to think here. So this particular class will have more information here. This particular throwable class will have more information. So we'll see, so what are the information this particular class is having here. But now you can also think like what are the information. So define this particular class. Each class, like each method or each constructor will have a message like this. If you read this particular message, now you can easily understand. So what exactly the information is available on the, like what is the purpose of the particular constructor or method. So whatever we define here. Getting the point. Okay. So these are about the nested try blocks we identified here. So tomorrow we'll discuss with the throw keyword. Getting the point. So tomorrow we'll discuss the throw keyword. So once the throw is completed, we'll move on to the throws. So finally, we are going to work with custom exceptions here. So how we can work with custom exception. So the custom exceptions also very important here. In the real time, we will create more than one exception, like thousands of custom exception classes we are going to create. So that we can see in tomorrow class. So any questions regarding our today's session? Okay. So if not, we'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you.